What is up guys, Morton here from SteamFirst.com with a review for Kill the Bad Guy, a strategy puzzle game developed by Xkey and released May 28, 2014 on Steam for $15. I really love games where the title tells you exactly what you'll be doing throughout the entire game, and Kill the Bad Guy does just that. There are over 60 levels and the objective of each one is to kill the bad guy in any way you can. Some levels you'll be running them over in cars, others you'll electrocute them or even drop a piano directly on top of them. But the levels themselves can be very challenging. There are multiple ways to clear the level and no way is right or wrong, but some do give more points than others. The gameplay is really solid and very fun. Each level has the bad guy walking around in a set path, and then you need to manipulate any objects you can in order to set up a trap to kill him. Every level has a lot of objects you can interact with, from cars you can accelerate forward, to trees you can knock down to set up different paths, to rope you can use to set up weapons. On top of that, once you get past the first few levels, they start to add other pedestrians you need to avoid and cameras that will cause you to fail if you get caught, which makes the levels increasingly difficult as more things get added. On top of that, you get points based on how brutal the murder was, so something really simple will only give you a few points, while a more thought out approach will get you a higher amount. Not that the points really do anything other than give you something to brag about, but it's still a nice way to know how you did. Also for points, each stage has a passport hidden somewhere for you to pick up, usually inside of buildings or hidden under things you can move, and once you kill the bad guy he'll drop a tooth you can pick up quickly for more points as well. Another way to get extra points is to complete the secondary objective. Secondary objectives require you to do something at a certain time or in a certain way, and they're explained with a riddle. So one of the secondary objectives might be, one of the bystanders is shy, send him something to eat to make him join the party. And so you'll need to figure out which bystander they mean and how to send him something. These can sometimes be really arbitrary or hard to figure out, but for the most part they're a good extra challenge and only require a little bit of thought. The last way to get bonus points is to kill the bad guy on day 1. A day passes every time the bad guy walks his complete path and exits the stage, then he'll restart following the same path the next day. Once you figure out the puzzle, most are pretty simple to get in one day, but some of them require you to do a lot of things very quickly to kill the bad guy before he gets away, so it can be pretty hectic. Gameplay gets a 4.5 out of 5. They do a great job with the level design and making them feel unique, and the secondary objectives add a lot of extra difficulty. But even though the levels feel different, you'll kill the bad guy the same way a lot of the time, and on some levels you'll know instantly what to do while others can take quite a while to figure out, so the difficulty curve is kind of all over the place. But obviously they're puzzles, so what might be obvious to one person might be very hard for someone else to figure out, so it'll vary with everyone. Visually, the game has this really cool style where everything is white except for the things you can interact with, which are gray. The levels are all pretty minimal in terms of what's on the screen, and it's really unique and looks awesome. On top of that, the level design is different, so even though every level is the same white and gray colors, they're still varied and don't get too repetitive. Overall, the graphics get a 4 out of 5, with the only complaint being that it does get kind of boring to look at after 60 plus levels of the same color scheme. But again, the levels are different enough to not get repetitive. The audio is pretty solid as well. The screams of the bad guy when you kill him are pretty funny, and the sound effects in general are good, but what I really want to talk about is the soundtrack. The song on the menu screen is a rap song that's actually pretty good, but I happen to like rap. If you don't, you'll probably just find it annoying. The soundtrack for the game itself, or really just one song basically, is just a rap type instrumental, but is also pretty good if you're into that type of music. Overall, the sound gets a 4 out of 5, but it is worth noting some people are going to dislike it. It's more personal taste than most soundtracks, because it's only one type of music. The story, if you can call it that, is that you're a member of a secret society whose members kill bad guys, and every level has a different guy to kill. Each bad guy has a short story about what they did and why they're bad, and each one is unique and different, but at the end of the day none of them really matter. It would have been really cool if the crime that they had committed was somehow referenced in the level, like if someone electrocuted a bunch of people, you then killed them by electrocuting them, but that isn't the case. By the midway point I had completely stopped reading the bios about each person because it simply didn't matter and wasn't very interesting to me. The story gets a 3 out of 5 though. This game didn't really need a story to begin with, so it is very nice that they added a little background for each of the levels. As for replayability, there's quite a bit. The secondary objectives on most of the levels will take a fair bit of practice, or trial and error to get figured out, and the point system gives you a reason to try and improve your technique on every level. Along with that, there are 50 achievements. Some of them are just time requirements that you'll get by default if you play long enough, but a lot of them actually require you to do specific things, so getting those done also adds extra value. Replayability gets a 4 out of 5. There's actually a lot of stuff to go back and do, and because most of the levels can be completed multiple ways, it means you won't be doing the same thing over and over. Overall, Kill the Bad Guy is a pretty fun puzzle game, where most of the levels can be solved multiple ways. However, there are some limits to what you can do, so you won't be able to do everything you can think of. But still, visually the game looks great, the gameplay is solid, The puzzles get hard after the first 15 or so, and there can be some pretty funny moments. Kill the Bad Guy gets a 4 out of 5. If you're looking for a strategic puzzle game, it's definitely worth looking into. It is $15, but it will definitely last you a number of hours even if you only play through it once without trying to get a lot of points. There's a demo available for free on Steam, so there's really no reason not to check it out.